Hello there everyone, and welcome to Good Old Wanna Go Fishing. I am your host Willie, and today we're not fishing. We're not. We're doing something even more special than fishing today. Well, let's not go that far. But let's go as far as saying it's something we haven't done yet. And it's something that has been coming for a while. I believe I even said in one of my previous videos it was going to happen. It was going to happen. So let's just get right to the point here. I've been commuting back and forth on the monkey for quite a few days now, probably 3, 4, 5 days, something like that. And I did a video not too long back about commuting, using the monkey as a commuter. And one of the things that I have been meaning to do, and really have been needing to do, simply because of how I use the monkey, is upgrade the shocks. That's right, I use it for everything. I mean, tackle bag, fishing rods. Sometimes there's small cans of gas in the side pockets of the Pelican boxes, or just hauling my lunch box and my jacket and my clothes and stuff when I go to work. The heavy lock cable that goes with me. And honestly, the standard shocks, the stock shocks that come on it, they just can't handle it. They're very pogo-ish, very springy. They bottom out easy. Trust me, I know, they bottom out really easily. Myself, I'm about 170 pounds. I believe we've had that conversation before. And then when you add, boots and clothes and lunch boxes or tackle bags and gasoline and all of that stuff, well, that puts a little bit of strain on the guy, okay? So I couldn't take it any longer. I had been listening to a lot of people on YouTube, subscribers for one, as well as watching a lot of YouTube and looking at what people have been putting on those bikes. Now, when it really gets down to it, you can spend a lot of money on shocks. A lot. A lot. I mean, seriously, you can go from $100 all the way to, from what I've seen, anywhere, $700, $800, $900, $1,200 for suspension, just for shocks for the rear of this thing. Now, I'm not looking to go out here and road track the thing, and I'm not looking to do the Baja 1000 or any of that type of thing, but I am saying that the bike, in my mind, was designed to be more or less an enduro style bike, to be able to go down trails and gravel roads and then jump off onto the pavement and go where you want to go around town, and that kind of thing. That's what it's made for. And the shocks that come on it just really can't. Even for a normal weight individual, which I consider myself in a normal weight for someone who's 5'8", 5'9", I'm 165 to 70 pounds, depending on, steel-toed boots or what I'm wearing, or where I had lunch at. Anyway, to me, it is one of those things that they kind of skimped on the bike, as well as tires. Tires are a whole nother story. We'll get into those at some other point. I went through, everybody that knows that sticker knows who this is. That makes sense. If you know the sticker, you know who it is. For those of you who don't know the sticker and you don't know who it is, company called MNNTHBOX. How it came about, I don't know. Haven't looked up that history and everything. But anyway, they have a lot of good parts for a lot of good two-wheel machines. And I mean everything. For me, it's the monkey. You got the Grom, and you got the CT125, and there's a whole list of other motorcycles, two-wheelers and stuff that these people have parts for. You really need to check them out. I'm going to tell you, these things came fast. I ordered them, and within 4 days, they were sitting right here. They just showed up today. We are going to take these out of the box. I'm going to give you a little look at them. And first thing I'm going to tell you, that's really not the first thing because I've told you so much before this. So the 17th thing that I'm going to tell you is there's plenty of videos on suspension on the Honda Monkey, okay? Plenty. Specifically with this particular pair of shocks that I got right here. Because this particular pair of shocks usually runs, well, I think they had them marked down to 119 and they're usually in the 169 range or something like that. But everybody seems to like them, and every review, I think except one, talked extremely highly of these. Some subscribers that have watched some of my monkey videos told me that they also have bought these, and I would not be wasting my time. These would be good money well spent. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of this, money well spent. They are adjustable, they come in chrome, they come in black. I got the black spring because, hey, chrome, you know, it don't get you home. But it does leave fingerprints. Anyway, let's just get away from that. I did get the black spring. So let's take a look at these and see. This is the opening of the box. I don't really think you need to actually look down there at the box. I didn't figure that would be too big a problem. Lots of nice bubble wrap. Lots of nice bubble wrap. Ooh, they even come in a fancy smaller box. That's cool. It's a box in a box. It's not just a man in a box, it's a box in a box. Alright, let me figure out how I can get this man out of this box. Ooh, spacers of some kind there. We got spacers and we got an Allen wrench and a rod. Not sure what the rod's for, but we'll get around to that. Ooh. Oh, I know what the rod's for now. It's for adjusting. Let's just go with that for right now. That looks like something what is something right there. So I got the black spring. It is an aluminum housing, kind of a, well, it's not a glossy finish by any means. The spring is in a gloss finish. Yeah, that's nice. That's really nice. I am going to love this. This is going to make me happy. Let's put it back in this box. And we're going to go out and do a couple of measurements. Just to see, we're going to take the tackle bag and a couple of rods, put that on there, and we'll do a couple of little measurements and see on the stock shock, when I put that stuff on there and I sit on the bike, how far down does it actually squat? And then we'll take a look with these, and once we get these installed and get them on there. And I'll show you the installation process when we do that. But the first thing I got to do is get the monkey out of the garage so we can actually work on it. Because there's 2 motorcycles in that garage, and you're just bashing elbows and busting knuckles. That's all you're doing. Anyway, let's get on that. We'll get outside. Okay, what we're going to do, we're out here in the garage. We've moved things around. Evan's going to give me a hand here because what we're going to do is actually measure. How do I say measure the squat? It just doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. I don't care what you say. But that's what we're going to do, is we're going to measure the squat. I don't care if you don't give a squat, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to measure the squat. I got my tackle bag out here, and it's generally the same stuff in it that I always use. I have 2 rods in the rod holders, and the camera stuff is it's already in the boxes. I don't really ever take it out, plus the manuals to the bike, and it's the stuff that's normally on the bike. And we're just going to measure, and we're going to show you how we're going to do that right now. What we're going to do here is, as you can see, there's a black area here that the intersection of the shock actually goes up into, and this covers it. So I'm going to sit on the bike, put it up, and Evan is going to measure wherever that black part comes down to. He's just going to mark it. Then we're going to do our best to just measure that distance when I get off of the bike to see how far it comes up. And then we'll try to figure out some way to do that on the new shocks when we put those on. Okay, that is all my weight on the bike.
Oh boy, of course, it's like right up under the spring part.
Well, that's fine. We just need to get an idea.
Come down again. Let me see if that's... Nope, not even close. Of course.
You said come up?
Yeah, just... I guess the first mark I made is like directly under where it... Come up again? Yeah, I mean the first mark's more or less directly like underneath where that black piece comes down. It's lining itself up perfectly behind, so I can't get the pin in there to mark where it's at.
You're saying the top one?
Yeah, the top one. The bottom one was just winging it to see if I could get it, but honestly it looks like the first one was kind of...
So that black piece came all the way down to there.
it covered it, but it looked like it stopped pretty much.
That's a lot of squat. That's a whole lot of squat, man. Okay, we're looking at, I am hitting, that looks like 1 5/8 inches. Yep, that's what it is. It's 1 5/8 inches. So it's just a rough estimate. It's not the closest thing. This is not the most technical test or hypothesis. Well, hypothesis, that's not the right word. This is not the most technical. It's not a school science project, okay? We're getting close. So 1 5/8 inches is about what we're looking at. So 1 5/8 inches is roughly about where we're at. Now is the changeover process, okay? We're going to take the stuff off the bike so it makes it a little bit easier to put them on. Got a couple of things that have to come off on the exhaust to be able to get the one shock off of there. Not a big deal. And anyway, if we'll just probably zip right through that process. How's that sound to you? You okay with that? Good, because it bores the crap out of me too.
What is this connected? Is it gonna? You have to take the rack and stuff off?
No, it's got to take this plastic guard here has to come off to be able to get that bolt and that bolt off.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The rack's.
Oh, you know you're right. Oh, what a mess that's going to be. So the rack has to come off too. I wasn't thinking about that.
I like just glanced at it. And
so in other words, the seat has to come off. So the seat's got to come off, then the rack's got to come off, then the shocks come off. There's a lot to do. Let's get on that. So if you own a monkey and you've taken the seat off, you know what you're dealing with there. Okay, 2 bolts in the seat right here, 1 on each side. That comes off, seat comes off. 2 bolts under the seat that hold the rack on, and then your 2 bolts on the side, these acorn nuts that hold the rack there. Okay, so all that had to come off, seat had to come off. Also, the exhaust has a black plastic cover right here that has 2 Allen wrenches, 2 Allen bolts that are holding that on. That's got to come off in order to slide the shock off, okay? That's all you've missed. Don't get excited. Calm down. Nothing else happening here. Everybody going home. All right, we're going to continue on now and take 1 shock off, this one on this side here, and try to get another one on. Squat a little bit. 1 shock off. Now let's take a fancy look at one of these fellas. Oh, here. Lift again. There we go. All right. Okay. So now what we're going to do is repeat the process on the other side. Not really something you necessarily need to see, I wouldn't think. Okay, so what we're going to do to make the measurement on this one is there's a bump stop that's actually inside the shock. So when you come down, it's a rubber bump stop, just like you'd have on a 4-wheel drive or anything else with shocks, whatever. And it would be down here on the bottom, but for whatever reason it was on the shaft itself. So we just pushed the bump stop all the way up to the bottom. And what we're going to do is load everything up. I'm going to sit on it and then push it down, and we'll just measure from where the bump stop stops to the top of this black shaft of the shock here. So there you go. I don't have to draw on anything.
And go down. Yeah, that's tiny. All right.
It's all the way to the top?
Yep.
Okay, you got your fingers out?
Yep. My head too.
Okay, it's actually considerably shorter. It's only a little tiny bit more than 1 1/8 inches, it looks like. In between 1 1/8 inches and 1 1/4 inches, it's kind of iffy in there. Now, it's showing it's about 1 1/8 inches. Now, that's probably going to break in, and when it breaks in, maybe it'll squat a little bit more, but that was 1 1/8 inches, and we also noticed that when we were putting the shocks on, we had to lift the bike higher to get the new shocks to actually go on, as opposed to when we were taking them off, the other one squatted so bad. So when I put the first shock on, it actually lifted the bike with just 1 shock on there. So then putting the other shock on, it just popped right on there. So needless to say, we can tell the difference in the height of the bike. We really should have measured the height of the bike before we actually put the shocks on, but I was worried more about the way it would squat one way or the other. But we're looking at about 1 1/8 inches, 1 1/4 inches, as opposed to 1 5/8 inches. So anyway, next thing to do is just, you know, ride it. Because otherwise it's just a big blue and white trophy sitting in my garage.
Isn't that what it is anyway?
Pretty much. You kidding me? This is the thing. This is the bomb. Man the box. Just got back from the ride. Definitely can tell a difference. Definitely, without a doubt in my mind, there's a difference. You're not bottoming out, you're not bouncing like a pogo stick. It's handling the weight really well. And I don't even have anything yet really kind of in the orange boxes just yet. But I've got a cat acting crazy out there because I'm in here talking to nobody. Well, I'm not talking to nobody, I'm talking to you guys. But at this moment, present me is talking to nobody but a camera. Future me will be talking to anybody who's watching. But my cat he just doesn't know how to take that. He don't get it. So anyway, let's get back to shocks. Do they work? Yes. They're quite comfortable actually. But what I can tell is that they are taller. They are actually taller. Now, I'm not talking like, you know, monster truck four-wheel drive taller, but they are taller because I can tell because I'm leaning forward. It's pushing me forward a little bit, which means that I'll just have to break the seat in a whole different way. You know, it's going to have to get re-broken in, I guess, to fit more along the lines of how I'm sitting on the new suspension, which has brought up another little aspect of the whole thing. I can now tell that the front suspension is squatty. But I don't know that that's going to happen because that goes a little bit above and beyond what I know how to do or really want to tackle. So, you know, it's not saying that I can't, but my dad used to say, the more you modify something, the less dependable you make it. Now, maybe back in 1950, 60, 70, when you were messing around with a lot of hot rods and cars and putting on four barrels and putting on headers and, you know, all that crazy stuff, maybe you did do that. But in today's world, the technology is a little bit different. So I did for a long time go by that, you know, the more you mess with something, the less dependable you make it. And so I don't really modify a lot of things. Usually it comes from the factory pretty good. Unfortunately, in this aspect, those shocks just ain't. And not just shocks. Let's talk about tires. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you. I have dumped the monkey twice now in the last probably month. And it has been because of dirt, leaves, grass, that kind of thing. The front wheel just goes right out from under it. If you try to turn or you try to, you know, go up a hill with it at a turn or whatever. Anything that a knobby tire would keep you from doing. And believe me, I know, I've had them. I've ridden knobby tires, I've had dirt bikes all my life, and I know what they'll do. But these round tires with these road mat grooves in them, and when I say round, you know, all tires are round, they're obviously not square. But what I mean is, the rounded, more balloon-like, beach-like tire, it's just useless on the grass and the gravel and stuff like that. It just does not get any grip whatsoever. So you got to be extremely careful. So do I see a tire upgrade in its future? Definitely, because I do go off-road with it. And so I definitely see that happening. But for right now, I'm going to put that up there. Maybe you can see the numbers. I'm hoping you can. If not, I'm going to read them off to you. It says shock set 330 millimeter black P/N TBW 1147. TBW 1147 from Man the Box. I appreciate, I'd like to say this out loud right now, those subscribers who commented in the last couple of videos, or the last video anyway, where I commuted to work and were telling me about the shocks and that it was a good move. It was. It was a very good move. I appreciate you very, very much, people. I appreciate that. And all the good videos that are out there on YouTube on this same thing, on these shocks, there are really good ones out there that show you step by step what to do. But anybody that's even somewhat mechanically inclined, you know, you have a cheap Harbor Freight tool set sitting in your garage, that you haven't knocked the dust off of in 5 years, you can change these shocks on your Honda Monkey. Nothing to it. Not a big deal anyway whatsoever, okay? So, are they worth it? Yes. $119 ended up being like $146 with shipping. Seemed to be a great shock so far, just for that short ride, but there's going to get some miles put on them, and probably in the next couple weeks. Yes, sir. Got some ideas, some places I want to go, some things I want to do, and Mr. Monkey is going to be part of it. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope you enjoyed seeing the very first upgrade, not modification, because that's not what it is. Kind of is, but not. It's an upgrade to the Honda Monkey. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Now I'm going to go eat some chicken nuggets.